3, 2, 1. We are recording.
Hey.
Hi. Recording.
Hey.
Hi. What's up? I'm like on my third gin of the evening already.
I literally Tuesday afternoon, half an hour after work. And you're ready to blow.
I'm ready to defend trans-exclusionary radical feminists and call out pedo. So, breaking news is that JK Rowling is back under fire because she's...
It's really funny.
Her most hilarious thing is she's got a new book about a murderous cross-dresser. It's just kind of so funny that after everything, she's now come out and with a new book about a murderous tranny, basically. But
I think she was testing the TERF waters with her previous stuff, knowing she's got some TERF book coming out.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, just let them get outraged now about me being a trans-exclusionary radical feminist."
Yeah.
And then when the book comes out, there'll be more talk about the actual book than the TERFdom.
Yeah, but I feel like the thing is, the reason why, you don't need us to tell you, but the reason why it's annoying is because it's just going to people are comparing it, people are saying oh, you're shocked by this, well, have you seen Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that? And I'm there was a very nuanced storyline in Silence of the Lambs for why this person was a cross-dresser. Can we not explore a cross-dressing murderer as a storyline anymore?
Yeah.
Are we that boring and muted that we can't explore stuff that's that's an interest? That's quite a cool idea, isn't it? It's been done, but it's interesting.
Yeah. And then the thing is things with about serial killers.
Yeah.
It's you get, I don't know.
I guess it's saying that it's basically the reason why is because people project their politics onto it, and people think that the TERF argument is that you might get raped by a man dressed as a woman in a bathroom because of these transgender laws or whatever. And it's that might be what someone thinks, but can you just read a book and enjoy a story, for God's sake?
Yeah.
I don't know. So that is literally in the last half an hour. But what's his name? The guy who plays Hagrid.
Robbie Coltrane.
What's his name? Robbie Coltrane.
Robbie Coltrane.
You're coming a bit fuzzy, Eleanor.
Oh, am I?
On my phone. I don't know whether it might be picking up properly on the...
It might be because I'm on loudspeaker instead of my
Get a bit closer, maybe?
Is this okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
But, so he defended her and said basically, stop getting offended, and he made the classic...
Well, he basically said, I don't really understand what it was that she said that was wrong.
But that's the funny thing, is that, if you boil what she's actually said down to it, it's that she believes in a safe space for women who are born women.
Yeah.
But that's seen as radical feminism in the sense that it's
well, the boiling it goes down further than that. It's not even a safe, as in she did mention about safe spaces for women, but the long and short of it was her saying there used to be a name, basically her saying that sex exists.
Yeah.
There used to be a name for people who had periods.
Yeah. But shame on all these other actors who came out against her. We said this at the time that it's so cowardly to do it like that. And then I'm so glad that he has now he's obviously being cancelled. He was I don't want anything to do with this basically, but I just would like to say blah blah blah. And that's perfectly. That's a really good way of because the thing is, can JK Rowling, okay, we've talked about art and the artist, but can she not have an opinion on stuff? She's come to an opinion through her own and it may be different to your opinion. It may be a misunderstanding or something. But can we just get to a point where people can have an opinion without kind of bowing to somebody else's opinion? We're all waiting for someone else's opinion before we make our own opinion. This is my choice. This is what I think. You know, she's not advocating for violence. In fact, there's a slew of like tweets and everything from her that said like we should protect trans people. You know, like they are vulnerable in a lot of cases. Yeah. We need to protect them, and it's like, but that's not enough for these people.
No, but it's like it's the fact that, I mean, the thing with I understand. I sort of sympathise with the kind of young Harry Potter actors who, when her view's not my view, when like this all blew up, as in it's a cowardly thing to do, yes, but it's kind of like people would look, it's almost like she has said something, and in the climate, it reflects on anyone who she's been in contact with, because that's the way this goes now.
Yeah. And
so it's like people who have my opinions on my own, and it doesn't reflect the opinions of my organisation. Like, her organisation is Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. But then at the same time, it's they could say nothing, but that's also not enough.
Yeah, they could say nothing.
That's also not enough. But now you have to come out against your friends, people who have done you great services in the past, who have believed in you, who have supported you. It's now imperative to come out against those people if they express dissenting by the public standards, by the government, the corporate standard, you know. And so
I would respect them a lot more if they instead of saying nothing, or what they did say, which was just to be like, I'm like shocked and appalled by what she said or whatever.
Yeah, trans women,
if they were to just go, look, I'm me saying something is being demanded at the moment because I was in Harry Potter and this woman wrote Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, even if they would just say that, and then to go, as it happens, like, I don't believe in sex.
Yeah. I
would like respect them more, because at least they're like just acknowledging that.
And they should also say we shouldn't be piling on someone for having a differing opinion.
Yeah.
And we should be and it should be normalized to not celebrate, but like support someone with an opinion that's different from the mainstream, because as every sensible thinking person knows, that's the only way that thought evolves.
Yeah.
But
I actually think it was really good what Robbie Coltrane actually said, because he was like, I don't know why, but there's a whole Twitter generation of people who hang around waiting to be offended, and that's kind of like a nice way of putting it, because it doesn't say anything about politics. It's just like, it almost like invalidates Twitter.
Yeah.
Anything that happens in like the Twitter sphere, that debate just like is kind of invalid.
Twitter is so crazy. Obviously, we should also acknowledge 9/11, the anniversary of 9/11 that was in the past few days. Obviously, Friday.
Oh yeah, that was on Friday.
But it's just funny on Twitter how there's obviously, it just made me realize, I mean, obviously I knew anyway, but that the algorithms are massively like monitored and edited, because like when I first logged in, it was like 9/11, and it was like something like 200,000 tweets about 9/11, and then it was like never forget and all these things like that. But then like probably half an hour later, or even when you refresh it, it now says like, it like really downplays how many tweets there are about it, and then it's trending. Transphobia, Islamophobia is then trending, and all these things that start to trend. It's like Twitter is just a cesspool.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the JK Rowling thing kind of blends into our next topic, which is one of our main topics, which is the Oscars. criteria, because
this was great.
They've released criteria now for what is deemed to be eligible for the Best Picture category.
Yeah.
And so I suppose
is it just the Best Picture category that they've done?
I think it like.
Oh yeah, Best Picture nominees.
It's to do with the Best Picture, but I think it's like a phase. This phase is like whatever. So you can imagine that it's only going to continue. So on the face of it, it seems massively insane, but in a way, it seems to just be like throwing a bone to, you know, woke Hollywood kind of thing. I mean, they are woke Hollywood. It's just like a circle jerk of Hollywood elites, basically. It's the Oscars, and you have to do this, that, and the other. And with Oscars, you can always tell which films are going for an Oscar nomination, because it's like there'll be a long-running actor who's taken a turn into a role that's like out of their comfort zone. They're giving some kind of like human interest story, or like overcoming adversity story. And there's a lot of like...
Or a biopic.
Biopic. Like revisionist history biopics or whatever.
The thing that's funny about it is
what are your thoughts on it?
The Oscars, the Academy Awards already didn't really represent like even the film industry.
No.
Or like what people go and see at the cinema, and how much films make, and like who people like. They don't really influence that, and I feel like less and less people even are aware of what is going on with the Oscars. And then now they're just like decimating the amount of awards that they invented in the first, like these same people invented these awards that go to the people. And it's like, well, now you're just making it harder for like your people to get awards. Yeah. So you're like, fine, honestly, it's like, do it.
It's just made up of like lovies, like your friends and your people. And, and but what I don't like about it is because it talks down to, it's kind of the arrogance to think that they are the kind of they're spearheading culture essentially, and and through making this decision, you normies can like understand what it means to like be inclusive and diverse and like all this stuff. And but some of the standards are they are crazy. It's like so to achieve standard A, the film. So wait, there's like basically 3 categories. 4 sections, and within those sections they must meet one of a set of criteria, and it includes basically a lot of like it's like women must be involved. Women are involved in everything because they make up 50% of the population, and women has been a thing for like the longest time.
Yeah, and it's been like maybe in like the 1400s, men played women when they needed women, but it's like...
But also it's like, for example, Dunkirk. I don't know if that was Oscar.
Oh God, that is what they always talk about. It's like, there's been issues with like all white male movies like 1917 and Dunkirk, and it's like, sorry that the war was a big deal to us.
But sorry that the war...
I'm sorry that it also had a lot of white men in it.
So it's essentially you're not allowed to accurately represent history. The thing is, though, hopefully the backlash to... Because, okay, say like the Twitter thing, it's like, then like Gab, Parler, and these other like things have cropped up, but none of them are as big, or I don't think are going to be as big as Twitter. But equally, I think some like there will be like truly it will be about the content of the film, and like is the film good technically or not? Like regardless of like a black makeup artist did the makeup, what does that really achieve? I like the question I would ask the Oscars is why. Like succinctly explain why you want this to be the case.
But also, it's like unless. Do they have any evidence that, like, in the film industry, the people who are hiring makeup artists have been like making racist choices.
Yeah, or there just happens to be more white people who are in makeup artistry. But and like if somebody, but we said it before of like about Anna Wintour, like when she was accused of underrepresentation of black people at Vogue magazine or whatever, I can't imagine that she was bypassed, like saying, oh, here's a very highly qualified black person, but I don't like the skin color, so I'm going to chuck her resume out the window. Equally, they're not doing that with makeup artists and production designers and all these cinematographers. They're just they just want to create art. And through this, and this is why I say it's similar to JK Rowling, is because now politics and ideology is influencing, is basically dictating what artists can create.
It would be interesting to know, like, what films that have been nominated for Best Picture in the past, like, which ones, if any, fit these, like, would actually still make it into...
Yeah, I was thinking that for this topic that we should have like gone through and said which of historically like great Oscar-winning films will have actually made like.
Yeah, because this one, the general ensemble cast is one of them. A cast. At least 30% of all actors in secondary and more minor roles are from at least two of the following underrepresented groups: women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ+, people with cognitive or physical disabilities, or who are deaf or hard of hearing. So, like...
Deaf? Hard of hearing?
All you have to do is just have, like, 30% of the people in your cast, because they're probably going to be at least 30% women anyway. All you have to do is have them go, oh, I identify as, like, queer.
Yeah.
And that's two of them.
But then equally, but if you look at the LGBTQ plus movement, it's about like it's about personal like representation. You can be trans. You're like you can be non-binary. I can be a woman today, a woman tomorrow. How dare you say that we have to have a woman in here when I identify as a man today?
Exactly.
And exactly. Like they're in.
What kind of woman?
Yeah.
Can someone just say that they're a woman? Can you just get 30% of your actors to say they identify as female?
And what if this person identifies as women,
and
as a woman?
And that means they're also trans, which is two of those boxes. Next.
Yeah, what if I'm a woman but not trans? Or trans and a woman?
Yeah.
Because aren't trans women? Daniel Radcliffe?
What if you are trans and identify as male, but you were born as you were biologically born female? Do you count in the... Can you, like... claim to count in the women
and sorry, are they going to be taking like witness testimony from the families of the makeup artists to like ensure that this person is truly like non-binary, for example? Because
so the film must meet one of the following criteria.
Yeah, so you could...
Because one of them is main storyline / subject matter. I didn't realise it actually reached into... So you could have, like,
the point. That's why
literally all straight, white, cisgendered men, as long as the main storyline or narrative is centred on women.
No, but you then have to achieve standard B, which includes...
and the like
key roles, other key roles must include this kind of thing.
Okay.
Because they really are hitting you from all angles, kind of thing.
That is like that. The fact that they put in about like this storyline or subject matter is bonkers.
I know, it's disgusting.
It's just like
you must adhere to our political leftist.
Like, you know what?
You must adhere to our political leftist ideology. Within your art. So your art has to be a political statement. It can't be art. Politics, like, sucks the life out of art, as has been...
Yeah. It sucks life out of everything.
Yeah. But, so why do we have to have... I don't know. But the thing
is... We don't. The thing is that these are the Academy Awards. It just means that there's going to be... People are going to just opt out of that, like... It's not going to be something that's aimed for by like people who seriously in their career like want to do well, because it's been like shown time and time again these films that are like hyper woke versions of other films, or like their purpose. You can tell, like, it could have a woke theme and be a good film, but the ones that you can tell they're just shoving some ideology down your throat.
Yeah.
They always flop when it comes to sales.
But
they always flop.
It's just going to clip the wings of creativity.
No, it's going to clip the wings of Oscars, of like the relevance of the Oscars.
Yeah, but like,
and like these. But hopefully, it will like open up more like independent film.
But this goes into like this way of thinking. Obviously, as we've stated before, that like the left claims ownership of the arts, and so this is just, and like the Oscars is like the creme de la creme of award ceremonies, and so this is just like the beginning for these kind of ceremonies. And so basically filmmaking is going to be, if you want to make a film about like the experience of a white man, you know, it's just not going to happen.
You have to have loads of...
You're not going to get art funding, are you? You're not going to have people associated with your film necessarily. It's going to be a lot harder, and it seems like you might, like, hopefully it's right that like it's not going to go beyond this, and that this is kind of just a virtue signal from the Academy Awards, and that it won't go further than this. But I think the Oscars is an important thing, and like that is the creme de la creme of the award ceremonies for film. At least.
It is, but it does. I mean, the logic of it all does just eat itself, because one of the other things that like has come up a lot in the last few years is things like basically the idea that if you're say a white man, you can never represent the experiences of someone who isn't a white man. And so you don't have the right to like tell the story of, and so it's like these are hoops that are actually impossible to jump through. If you actually adhered to what this like ideology is suggesting and all of these rules, there would be no film, because this number of people don't exist.
Yeah. But what I find really kind of crazy is that they've said like, oh, like the international films are exempt from these kind of things. And it's like, yeah, obviously, because nobody else has to go through these kind of insane loopholes to get...
International films count as like French.
But like, for example, everyone's like, mentions like the Parasite or whatever that won loads of awards. And then they say... But that was obviously, everyone on that is Korean. Why can't a Native American, not Native American, a Native American, okay, a white American say, or like a black American, like any American person. So does this count for black people as well? Yes, it will do. Racial or ethnic group. So basically, white people can't make films anymore.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
So the thing is, it's like white people could. What they would say, it was like, no, that's silly. White people can make films. They're just not to be about white people. But then it's like, so what? You're saying a white person can make a film that's about like the black issues? I don't think so. That's not allowed.
It's just ridiculous, because imagine being called up for a film. Hey, you're black. Can you be in our film? Because we need 30% black people.
Sorry, we don't have enough deaf or hard of hearing people on this film.
Yeah. What did you say? I can pretend.
Action.
I said action. Action. I mean, they were already a joke. Like, as I said, like you can tell when a film is vying for Oscar nominations, because it's pandering bullshit. And this is just, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's just, the thing is, it's like, you know what, I would prefer like the like elite, mega wealthy, like Hollywood kind of psychos. Do you know what? Why doesn't the government just make films? Just take over the government.
Exactly, but that's
give them to us straight. You know.
Yeah.
I'd rather.
What are we supposed to think?
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Like,
why are they? Yeah, exactly. Like, why are?
Don't pretend it's about something else than propaganda. Just like,
yeah.
Let's just have the 2 minutes hate and like.
Yeah. How depressing, like how sick and boring. It's just going to be a propaganda.
Grey.
Here's a load of like
bleak,
ugly trans people doing like nothing. When are these minorities going to like take responsibility for their shit, for their like lives? I demand
the people who I feel like who are both underrepresented in like culture and their views are underrepresented are like attractive trans people because they are all TERFs, first of all.
Well, yeah, attractive.
They don't want this like.
They wouldn't give up their hot physiques for any non-binary like psycho.
No.
But like when I don't know. I feel like someone's gonna knock on the door in a second.
I feel like I'm kind of excited to see the films.
Yeah. Well, I thought it would be funny to do like a hyper version of films with the criteria that they say.
Yeah.
So, hey, 3 of 10 black people in our film, get over here or whatever.
I feel like they will feel like farce. They will feel like satire.
But it's going to be like those...
It'd be interesting to see what people do with it.
It's going to be the films... It's going to be, like when... What's that film where they basically revised the moon launch thing with black women and said that black women made the moon landing possible in America? Whatever that film is. I care so little about it, I don't even know what it's about.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
But that's somebody who I'm like a bit sad about. She went really... Janelle Monáe. She did like a really cool... Like, she used to just like do cool music, and it was like weird like concept art basically.
Yeah.
And she's just gone full on like horrible lefty to the point where it's like impossible to speak to her. Not that I speak to her, obviously. I watched like a round table discussion with like Hollywood actresses or whatever, and she was just there like, I'm impressed or whatever. And it's just like...
as in, it was like Jennifer Aniston was
there. And they were all like, the lockdown's really bad. And she was like, the lockdown wasn't that bad for me. And because I'm a fucking rich, extremely wealthy person. And then Janelle Monáe was like, oh, it's actually really bad for like black and brown people. Okay, way to ruin the party.
It's really bad for it's really bad for black and brown people. She must be talking about like how more black people have died from, as in proportionately from COVID, or have been like
I think
black and ethnic minorities have been disproportionately affected by COVID.
Which is
as if like her just being black, despite her being rich and famous, like her just being black means that lockdown has been harder for her. What was she like? Just scared of COVID more than?
And also, like, what? Like, to think that she, a rich celebrity, represents poor Black America.
Oh yeah.
And she has some kind of like solidarity with poor Black America. I don't know where she came from, like her history, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, why do you think that you speak for millions of people?
Yeah.
It's just...
I mean, I said it at the beginning of the whole COVID situation, but celebrities have just been doing my nutting way more than they used to.
Yeah.
they're just like tone deaf this whole time. Everything that any of them have done and said.
It's like, it's so tiring. I was speaking to my friend about this, but like, it's truly to the point where part of me wants to just turn a blind eye to reality.
Yeah.
But and it's like the dichotomy of wanting to turn a blind eye to reality, and then also no, we need to fight against it, and we need to we need to speak truth and like try and just like stop the bizarre trajectory that the world is going down, and that the greatest nations on earth are going down. I don't know. And I don't know. I've been in the past like few weeks, I've been called like a fascist. I've been like said that I'm like I have no empathy for human beings, and like but whereas I don't know, I just like people, I don't know, that's not me. I think the major problem is people think that if you don't support Black Lives Matter, you don't support Black lives, and that if you don't support LGBTQIA++ indoctrination in schools, you hate and want to kill gay people, or if you speak out against the terrible state of the Islamic religion and how it oppresses millions of people worldwide, that you hate Muslims. And it's like, no, it's exactly the opposite of all those things. It's that wanting Islam oppresses Muslims more than any other person on earth, and Muslims are dying in the hundreds of millions because of it. You know? And and then
the thing is, like,
Black Lives Matter, the same goes for the LGBTQ thing. It's like, why are you so sure that your way is helping people? I'm not sure.
It's a defense mechanism for that enables people to not have to like justify their opinions.
Yeah.
But like demonizing someone who thinks differently or thinks the opposite of you is just
or thinks in a more nuanced way.
And weak.
But it's like thinking more deeply about it.
Yeah.
You are demonized for thinking deeply, but that's a constructive thing. We say it every single week.
Yeah.
It's constructive.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
Those are the people who swallow the party seed. But
lockdown we're basically in lockdown 2.0 at the moment. Because they've rolled back British citizens' freedom and said that formerly we could meet in groups of 30, but now you can only meet in groups of 6 or less. And a lot of things like basically gathering for recreational purposes is no longer allowed. Based on nothing.
They're discussing potentially a curfew.
I hate the government.
The thing that's like the most shocking thing about it is that we already did a lockdown.
Yeah.
And it was a mistake.
I watched a really good video that basically went through why masks don't work, why the lockdown... There is absolutely no evidence that the lockdown has made a jot of difference anywhere in the world. Like, they're comparing countries with similar climates, because climate is a big factor in, obviously, in infection rates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And how people are infected and stuff. And there's like hundreds, I don't know. I think our government is basically at a point now where they can't renege on what they've already said, and so they have to push forward, destroying further.
They can't say the simple fact, which they cannot say because because of political reasons, is that it wasn't as bad as people thought it was going to be.
No.
Like the pandemic, they should be going, that's a good thing. Okay, maybe it was an overreaction.
I would say,
but now we know, and it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So let's just work on getting back to normal.
If there's no working, if I was in charge, I don't know, I want to literally storm Downing Street and just say press some button that just releases people from this mental block that we're under. It's so bizarre that we still have to do all this crazy stuff with no scientific backing. There is no science that explains any of the lockdown measures, any of the mask measures, any of what we've been doing.
No.
And that is an open challenge. If someone has anything, please show it to me, because everything I've looked at indicates that
I would love it. I would love
time.
that this wasn't just arbitrary.
I want people, I want heads to roll, seriously. And still...
Sam is calling for blood.
I'm not advocating violence, I'm saying... But Boris Johnson...
I just want metaphorical heads on spikes at the walls.
Yeah. Matt Hancock, Boris Johnson, they should resign for what they've done to the country. It's not enough to say, because I think there had to be an initial lockdown. And there would, when you saw what was coming out of Italy, there was no choice but to lock down.
It was scary, and
there was public, and I don't know.
Yeah, there would have been
As in, I'm honestly going against what I say a lot of the time, which is that the people should make decisions for themselves. Because a lot of people do still back the lockdown.
Yeah.
And so should we keep the lockdown despite its massively, devastating effects on the economy and the country and a lot of human lives, despite the majority of people wanting it? No.
But the thing is,
I don't know.
I don't trust people.
But
I don't trust that the reason, if you poll people and see, do you want a lockdown? Do you think it was a good thing? Do you think things should continue as they are? I don't trust that people who were furloughed and then have been working from home and had a really great work-life balance and haven't had to see the people who they don't like so much.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't just go,
I
think this is a good thing.
We can take all these lessons forwards with us, but we don't have to continue to destroy lives and kill more people, which is what's happening. Every single day that we prolong this insane lockdown, more people are going to die of cancer or be undiagnosed with various other ailments. More old people are going to die without saying goodbye to their families. It's it's ridiculous. And people should, at this point, if I was in government, I would say, you don't even have to say that if we made a massive mistake. You could just say, from now, it's up to you. If you have a problem, if you have a pre-existing condition, if you're old, don't go outside.
But they kind of do have to say that they made a mistake, because the thing, made a mistake, but they missed the mark. But it's because it's been a really short amount of time, and I guess just the level of panic and fear mongering and the actual volume of scary stuff that has been in the media and from the government has just really quickly changed the way people actually approach life, honestly. People are scared of their neighbors. The disgusting reality is that we are that easily manipulated by the government. Why does anyone from this day forward trust anything from a source of authority? It's you can't trust these people. They don't have your best interests at heart. They don't. Anything they say is, you should take it with a shovel full of salt. But the average person,
and then we've got dumb.
Me being one of them. This thing started started off, and then it was like growing countries. Like the news, I'm not even like an avid news. I'll like seek out certain news stories, and like I get updates and things, but I'm not like first thing in the morning look at the news, like read through every kind of newspaper. But even I was getting like overloaded with these really scary articles from the get-go, like since February.
Yeah.
And like anyone would be forgiven for going, shit, this is a really scary thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, this is what you can do, and you're offered like, lots of different opinions about it. But it's like, basically, the like crux of the matter was the people around you are a danger to you, and you are a danger to them. Which is such a toxic message.
And you're killing people by...
You're killing people,
and if
they're trying to kill you.
And if you question
so people now get angry when they see people who don't have masks.
Yeah. And
because they're scared. Everyone is scared.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Those people, I don't care if you're scared. You're a Karen-ass, psychotic, weird loser, and you really should look at yourself. If you're monitoring who else is wearing a mask, you are seriously insane, and you really need to look at yourself. You're embarrassing. It's disgusting. That behavior is, to me, like, why are we encouraging that kind of, that is repulsive behavior. Anyway, I can't even speak about it. I don't know why we put this on the docket. It's like, it makes me so angry to think about it.
Yeah.
Millions of people have lost jobs. Millions of children, probably millions of children's lives have been upturned.
At the minimum, disrupted,
Disrupted. So many old people have had to die alone.
Yeah.
In their tens of thousands, and they are old people in their tens of thousands, because 10% of, I'm talking morbidly obese people with many comorbidities died from this under the age of 65. 10% of deaths. It's a normal flu. It's a fucking flu. Literally, show me any evidence. And people are like, oh, well, nobody knows what's right. And it's like, if you look on the government statistics for the deaths, it's less than 10% of people who died of this. And it's like, I don't know. It literally makes me want to punch something.
Yeah.
But that's that on that. If you don't question authority, you're a fucking loser, and your life means nothing. You're a pawn, and you deserve everything you get. Next topic.
Yeah. It's kind of back to Cuties.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of like say explicitly that I'm anti-Cuties since seeing clips from it, because when we first did Cuties, it was like, we were like, I'd seen the trailer and the poster.
I had literally seen, the poster and the trailer.
And I was like, this is weird, but it kind of could be interpreted either way. But having seen clips from the actual film, it's disgusting child pornography, basically.
Yeah.
And like these kids are like, I didn't realize. I thought, because we hadn't seen the dances, and so I basically wanted to come on record to say I'm anti-Cuties.
But then there's just been I cannot believe how much media gaslighting there has been about this. Gaslighting, it's basically since people have, I guess they thought after people when, let's boycott Cuties, boycott Netflix because there's a film that's exploiting children. I guess they thought that would blow over, and then it was like, oh no, we've explained that it's not actually about exploiting children. It's not exploiting children. It's actually just this. It's just a coming of age story, or oh no, you've misinterpreted it. And then when the actual film came on, and people were like, no, it's exploiting children. Yeah. The media have just doubled down, and you get these headlines like, how Cuties is fueling the far-right obsession with paedophilia.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the things
the far-right does have an obsession with paedophilia.
Because there's a lot of
majority
paedophilia
of the population are against paedophilia.
Yeah. But what's come out recently is that, like, Netflix is basically being one of Barack Obama's, like, close people has become, like, a director at Netflix or something.
Yeah.
And
aren't they, like, patrons of something?
Yeah,
the Obamas.
An associate of the Obamas, of Barack Obama, is on the board of directors, and
okay.
But he's doing like he has like a deal with Netflix, and he's basically just getting involved in it. And it's like, I don't want to give too much credence to like QAnon and like pedo, what is it called, like Pizzagate conspiracies and all those kind of things, but it just so happens that Michelle and Barack are producing like Netflix documentaries now, and all this like pedo stuff is happening. I don't know. I do wonder, like the pedoid thing, like the Hollywood pedophile thing. I don't know. I'm not, like, I am quite susceptible to, like, conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's like...
it's hard to know whether it is a conspiracy theory or whether it's not a conspiracy theory.
But what I meant by, like, the gaslighting media is, like, how Cuties is fueling the far-right's obsession with paedophilia. Like, the far-right have an obsession with paedophilia because they've got all of the like Alex Jones thing about like pedophiles who like drink the blood of children and stuff like that. There's like a big old Hollywood politics group who are just like awful, like child sacrificing monsters. Like that is the thing, but it's like it's not those people who are outspokenly upset about Cuties and Netflix.
Yeah.
It's like the normal person
who's
concerned that there's literal footage of children dancing sexually.
And there's like a clip as well. There's like, I don't exactly know the context, but she's like taking a picture of her. You watch this 11-year-old child take her underwear off and then like take a picture of her vagina.
What?
It's so mental.
Yeah.
It's still on there though.
Yeah, it is.
And it's been recommended.
It's like, it's them being 11 as well. It's like 11 is like exactly that age that makes it this messed up. Because some people might go, okay, even like 13. There's a bit of that in a lot of films, and like you were saying, films like Lolita.
Yeah, but that is exploring a paedophilic relationship in a film. Explicitly exploring that. As in, like, it's a taboo, it's this, it's that, it's the other. Like, whether or not that's wrong or right, that's another discussion, but this is like, it's kind of like a normalizing of paedophilia thing. And like, there is it's not a conspiracy, it's like truly what's happening, is that like, there are people who do advocate for paedophilia and are like putting the feelers out there. Like this film reached it's like ready for Netflix kind of thing. And so there's enough people supporting the idea of an 11-year-old reaching a sexual maturity.
Yeah.
There's enough people supporting that for it to become a film.
Yeah.
So it's not a conspiracy theory, it's just and that in itself is something that people are uncomfortable with. People don't want that to happen. It's not a conspiracy to, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And there have been there's been articles about, what was it, in the New York Times, there was articles about basically being apologetic. It's saying that there are too harsh sentences on people, on men who are caught in those kind of entrapment things online, where it's a undercover policeman
where they pretend to be a 12-year-old girl and chat them up and then meet them in person and arrest them.
And then it's that they're saying that there's this person hasn't committed a sex crime, but they're in prison for a sex crimes kind of thing. While I would I tend, the thing is, it's where it's the grey areas are where all the evil happens, because you can understand it from both. A normal person would be able to say if you are literally coercing someone into a sexual scenario, there is a bit of a grey area there where it's would they have done it under any normal circumstance?
But legally, as in, there was someone, I can't remember, it was a comedian, he's an American guy that has a podcast, Andrew Schultz. He said just in one of his podcasts that he just asked the question why do undercover police exist? And is it and I don't think they should. What is the point of when the function of the law is to protect the citizens of the country, and they're just an arm of the citizens? Why can you trick someone into prison? And I do agree, but the grey is not a grey area in a 50-year-old man being on forums scouting for young girls.
Yeah. But then when you're,
that is the crime. That is the crime, surely.
Yeah, I don't.
Girls.
I just read it was linked from a, not right wing, but free speech, which is basically
normal.
I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of embroiled in the kind of right wing world, but it was a link to the article saying that people are defending paedophilia or whatever.
Yeah.
The New York Times, and then I read it and I was it's kind of nuanced in the fact that this guy is young, mid-20s, and the undercover policeman sent a picture of herself with her own face, but she was looking young, and he had said apparently that he didn't believe that she was really young and thought it was a role play thing.
Right. And he still got done.
Yeah, he went to prison or whatever, and they're saying that that's wrong. But
that's kind of crazy, yeah.
But that's where it's muddied.
Yeah.
And then, but then it's if you say, oh yeah, okay, that's a bit extreme or whatever. Are you then on board with, But I think all these kind of stories and things are
well, no, because you would be that way with any kind of crime thing. It's the law, the courts should determine, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that you did, commit a crime.
Yeah, that's true.
And
also,
so
there's no crime was
that is
committed.
always going to be a grey area, because we don't want to just have a police state where anyone can be locked up for anything.
And he was talking to an adult, so...
Yeah, he, didn't break the law, right?
Yeah.
What is the crime?
He role-played with someone he thought was an underage child. But the thing is, someone he thought was of age. But, yeah, as in, we've talked about it with the Cuties thing. That is, to me, there is a hard line there where that is, we've got 11-year-olds and they're simulating homosexual acts together on stage, and there's no grey area there for me anymore since seeing those things. It's like truly.
The thing is, like, it does seem like they make it seem like a conspiracy theory, like there's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
When you'd think it, like, I don't even think things should be censored. Like, film, I don't think there should be censorship in films, and then the line is, if you break the law to make the film, for example, have a child do something and film it, is illegal. But, like, that doesn't mean, like, what you want is for the society to look at something and all agree that we're not going to put money into that or support that, and that is, like, messed up, and we don't want anything to do with it, kind of thing. Which is what should have happened with this Cuties film. But it's like, that you'd think we could all agree on paedophilia being wrong. Like, it's one of those things that no one outwardly says it's right.
Yeah.
Like, apart from people who are fringe. But, like, even the media wouldn't outwardly say, like, paedophilia is okay.
Yeah.
And so when people get upset about this Cuties film, and then the media go, like, if this is people who get upset about this are just like weird right wingers who have this like bizarre obsession with paedophilia, makes it seem suspect, right? It seems like a conspiracy because it's like, well, why are you defending a paedophile film?
Yeah.
What do you have? Like, what skin do you have in the game?
Like, I do wonder.
You know, unless you're a paedophile, why do you want that there?
Yeah, I really don't understand that. But why, like, it shouldn't, I don't think it should exist, but it's like, how did it get that far? But then how many people are really supporting it? Like, I think the majority of people aren't. But the thing that speaks to a lot of examples in real life is that, like, there doesn't have to be a majority support of something for it to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Like, there are just people with power, there's people with money who can do whatever they want to do despite anything else. And so this new world order is going to happen whether or not you agree with it. And any, like, politicians and, you know, whoever else can make decisions despite mass protests. Like true like opposition rather than like BLM protests or Antifa protests.
But it does really frustrate me when things like this are politicized into like left and right because like people who are like strongly, you know, the like die-hard left-wingers and die-hard right-wingers, they respond to that as like, oh, okay, well, this is us and then. Like, and so they will then just like double down on whatever is like the media have said is the right-wing opinion or the left-wing opinion, you know? And it just, and then it's like, okay, well, now paedophilia is becoming a polarizing issue. That's like, so one side is going to be for, one of the two sides is going to be for paedophilia.
Yeah, I'd rather be on the one that's against it.
Yeah, I'd rather no mainstream side have that opinion. It's like we've all agreed, like, across
but that's the thing
the political spectrum that bestiality is wrong.
But that's the thing with these weak-willed group of people, they can tell them to believe anything. Yeah. That's the problem where...
intellectually lazy and, like...
Or people... But again, when everyone is compelled to have an opinion on things, they're just going to... Yeah. They're not... You know, they've probably got a job of their own, they've got a life of their own, they've got a house to deal with, they've got children, they've got a dog, they've got whatever. They don't... Yeah. They will support what is just, like, easy to support. And then that will be used as, you know, general public complicity for somebody's sick power play. And we've, like, week in, week out, since we started this podcast, there are massive displays of this happening in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many more times I can, like, bear to say it before, like, pulling my own hair out or, like, killing myself. Or, like...
Like, it's the state... Like, the state of journalism is, like, is so...
disgusting.
Desperate, honestly.
Yeah, we're in a low place. We're at the fall of...
When something happens and you have to go, oh, which side of the coin does this align with? And then argue that point. It's just like, how do these people who write these articles sleep at night, honestly?
Yeah.
E.J. Dixon of Rolling Stone.
Did he write the one about defending him?
About,
it being a right-wing...
Starlight's obsession with pedophilia. Yeah. They just keep calling it coming-of-age film. It's like, well, I bet the pedophiles don't want them to come of age, remember? Then they stop being desirable.
Yeah, they're like, no, don't grow up, you're so sexy. Anyway, should we wrap?
Yeah, we did that the wrong way round. We should have ended with JK Rowling, because then it's not ending on, like, a funny note.
Look,
her book's about a murderous
I will be buying and reading the book. Because there's people coming out like, another flop from JK Rowling, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I know that you're just trying to be
if you read that, by the way, listeners, if Sam reads that, it will be the first JK Rowling book he's ever read.
Yeah, she's not a great writer. She doesn't hook you in. I read the first 3 Harry Potters.
I did too, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it was boring. The films are far superior. Anyway, bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.